So how Predecessor is doing right now, a game by Omeda Studios, a mobile game? Well, I had to check it out. So based on statistics that I've seen, as of right now, you can see these are the stats from SteamDB. In the 24-hour peak, it was reached 2.3k concurrent players, and this is just on Steam. The game is free. It's also available on other platforms, including Epic Game Store. It's also available on PlayStation and on Xbox. So of course, these concurrent numbers don't represent the entirety of players actually playing the game. I also checked Omeda City to check how many ranked players actually registered there. This is, I think, from both PlayStation and on PC, at least based on the FAQ, which I saw the reference there to PlayStation. And of course, I also checked myself that I listed there and I play on PC. And the numbers across all ranks were 37,821 players listed. These are not casual. Again, this is the ranked mode. All right, so again, we can expect, of course, in terms of players or just playing casually to be much higher. Some suggest that in terms of concurrent players should be around 18k to 30k concurrent players playing on all platforms. I also seen this post on Reddit, again, of course, unofficial. You can see that 144k players who have played at least 25 matches, which means 80% of the people who download the game doesn't stay longer than those 25 matches based on the 750k players mark. And this was posted, by the way, last year, and they mentioned, the person wrote and mentioned the amount of players active this year is 98k, which is also means we kept about 50% of the player base, which is actually damn good. Now we can also see the game is just keeping good momentum. We can see the climb, the patches. Those are elevations due to the patches being released. It's important to know that these things are actually adding are permanent in the game. They added the battle pass. They're adding new heroes. In patch 1.7 should be the biggest patch until now. They're adding in labs. They're adding Agora legacy map, which should really give a big spike in players who will show interest in this game. I mean, I predict that will be the case. We need to wait and see. Again, all of this to give the game its own unique signature and perfect the experience to the audience, those who actually really enjoy playing the game. Both players who play Paragon in the past, so still keeping things kind of authentic when it comes to the core experience, while adding something more and improving on top of what Paragon was. And actually, patch 1.7 getting lots of exposure on media, which is great. They're doing a great job in that to make sure people know about the upcoming Agora map. And also, we can see here one of the titles, Predecessor, is now officially exceeded the lifespan of Epic's Paragon. But this is not hard. They closed the game Paragon due to Fortnite, which of course now is the most popular game in the world. So they took the developers and just decided, well, it's not worth keeping it. Let's take everybody, put it on Fortnite. And of course, it was well worth it for them. Yeah, that's why Paragon died eventually. Still, it was kind of decaying. It wasn't really lifting up. But of course, you can't compare to Fortnite, which is phenomenal when it comes to the gaming landscape. And for what I checked, format player count on Fortnite GG, there was like player right now, as of the time making this video, 790k with a 24-hour peak of 1.5 million and all-time peak 7 months ago of 14.3 million players. Of course, Predecessor lives in a mobile landscape of games that it's very, very saturated market, and they need to bring something new, something on their own. They do build, of course, on the nostalgic connection for players to Paragon. Otherwise, this game couldn't have lifted off. This is why they do stay connected with it. They can't really change it significantly because, again, then they're going to lose that nostalgic connection. That, I mean, this is the main thing that actually players playing the game in the first place. If they lure the core players, there's no Predecessor. The game is just living, breathing on players who enjoy playing Paragon in most part. Now, I just want to add that Paragon, at its peak in January 2017, reported approximately 832k active players, which was a significant increase from 750 in November 2016. So Epic Games also stated that it had around 6 million registered players, a number that continued to grow at the time. However, eventually it failed. Of course, again, I should mention Fortnite, but also it failed to attract a sufficiently large and engaged player base to sustain its development, especially as Epic Games shifted focus to the, again, Fortnite. And there are many things down there, including the revamped card system and the move to monolith. They made so many changes, and some people like it, some people didn't. There are lots of altering of the game that eventually just caused destabilization of the entire game. So they start losing lots of players, and they couldn't really sustain a new player adoption, and eventually that led to really bad results. So seeing growth and the game's momentum, it's really good. It's not like the game reaches peak and then just it keeps declining. That's a really bad sign. And although we see again more on Steam, the data on Steam, again, we can expect it to be quite similar, at least on the trend and the shifts in concurrent players. That's going to be more or less the same on other platforms. So based on what I've seen, well, Omeda Studios is tackling it in various ways. First of all, it's a community-centric development, very, very tight, considering that, again, former content creators actually established the studio. I mean, we're the big fans of the game, which is, again, this is so important because they can understand and communicate well with the community. And another thing is iterative and responsive development. So they're willing to do, to pivot, to make quite even significant changes, as seen with the transition, for example, from Brawl to Labs, based on players' data and feedback, highlighting the, for example, an agile and player-focused development philosophy. The iterative approach is crucial for long-term games health, and they're doing it really well. Keep listening. I also had problems with, many of us, with players AFKing and just deliberately sabotaging the game. And it seems that right now it's much less than before. Creating great promotional content for the game, especially the trailers for new heroes and patches. Like the quality that we enjoyed playing when Paragon was active. They're also learning for history of the game, Paragon. Again, they're very cautious. Also, the limited time return of Agora in labs rather than, for example, forcing it into the main game. So the labs was actually a great idea to test things out. But same, by the way, as Overwatch we're doing, kind of a side playground for new things. And then if there's something that succeeds or players want to show interest, they can move it to the main game. So this indicates that Omeda has learned from Paragon's past mistakes regarding disruptive map changes and other changes that could actually just kill the game, or at least really cause damage rather than something that can help the game succeed. So this is why it's such an important thing, making that labs rather than forcing something. So this is crucial for the game, and they made the right choice. Another thing that is very important, especially when a game is very popular on console, is the significant skill gap and the perceived casualization of the player base, particularly among console players who may not engage with external learning resources, which is very easy to do, of course, when you're using a PC. So this can lead to frustrating experience for both new and veteran players. What they call sometimes a noob generator, but it's not their fault. They just need to give them the tools to help them do better. But there are more things that, of course, they can do. First of all, they need to focus on enhancing the in-game learning and player progression, refining the matchmaking and competitive pathways, also strategically evolving content beyond the nostalgia itself, which they are doing. Again, so more players will want to engage with this game more than just, alright, it's a Paragon remake in quotation. And also sustaining and nutritioning the esport ecosystem. It's still small, but again, this is very important for such a game. So I'm pretty sure Omeda Studios' eyes will be on the latest patch. They really want to see how people react to the classic map coming to labs. The fact that it's labs is kind of, you feel more relaxed releasing it there because it's kind of sandbox area. Well, we'll see, we'll measure the analytics, we'll check it out, see if it works, then we make decisions. They take their time. They're not rushing anything. They want to make sure that they're doing things right. And this is the fact that you actually see this chart kind of getting, you see the momentum in the concurrent player chart. I think this couldn't be like a better indication of they're actually nailing it well. The way you get more exponential increment is, well, when players are bringing other players, friends to play with. And then they're playing together and they stick around and they continue playing. And those other players can bring their own friends to play and so on. That's how you get kind of exponential growth. Right? It's not going to grow if it's going to be like a secret society. You know, everybody keep them themselves. So definitely try to do that by, you know, telling others to refer to their friend and build other features that makes co-op gameplay really fun for players to play. I still think they need to make changes, both, by the way, to the ping system, communication system. I mentioned things in the past, maybe using some kind of a, you know, speech to text, something that will translate certain verbal words into pings, so you don't really need to mess around with keyboard or anything. Like if I say, for example, let's go attack Paragon, so it's going to ping the right thing, or just, you know, I need help in right lane, so it knows how to translate it to a certain ping to mention this. It's also great for accessibility. So anyway, there are ways to improve it, but you know, probably it's not their main focus right now. But something like that should be, I think, in the game, and because it helps with communication. And I know that people, something that, again, it's up to you to decide whether you're going to play alone or with randoms, or you're going to play as a group. Sometimes, again, some people say it's skill-based, but sometimes it's just a preference. Some people, that's what they prefer. And you still want to make their experience fun and not frustrating. If you want to rank up, by the way, you want to have higher chance to rank up, of course, there's nothing more than teaming together. This is the best way to play such a game. Otherwise, I'm telling you, you're going to be very frustrated at times because you're kind of failing to level up. And the thing is, the game, the matchmaking is designed to keep you playing against other similar player of your own level. Basically, you need to do your best in order to be able to kind of, be able to. And if you're playing, for example, support, it's very hard to, like, you can't really carry a game. If you're playing, for example, a tank, or you're playing ADC, you can to some degree. But for me, for example, I play mostly support, and by the way, mid-range as well. It's not going to be a deciding factor for whether, I mean, it's going to be important, but, you know, I can't really win games, I can carry a game. So basically, you're going to get kind of a more of a 50-50 chance and a bit of luck. So yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to progress like that. But again, if you're going with a character that can really, let's say a damage dealing character, and you are performing well, you can really carry yourself to the highest levels, and it won't be that hard, to be honest, if you're very good. This is why, by the way, in other, like for example, I think in Overwatch, they implemented some your personal performance leads to a better rank. So it's kind of taking into account in the rank system rather than just relying on your teammates. This was done to counter that exact same thing, where if you are just playing again alone and you're playing with randoms, the chance for actually progressing is very, very limited. Again, especially if you're playing certain roles, that is. Yeah, so overall things looking good. Can't wait for patch 1.7, and yeah, hopefully they continue doing what they do, and they're really doing well. And yeah, just wish them good luck, and see you in the game. Cheers.